This is the hardest question of the session. What are your expectations, and I guess maybe that's a wrong word, but I'm going to use that word. What are your expectations over the next 6 months? And we're going to start with John, who's the because you're a retired Marine. What do you think? John, you're on mute.
I'm on mute. Sorry about that. I expect to gain more weight because of this inactivity. No, I'm just kidding. But, I expect we really are going to if you look at the numbers that tell us when we're going to get out of this mess. I mean, it's going to be a kind of a slow comeback, maybe the first few weeks. But I expect we'll be back. And let me just say, I expect the federal government to do everything and anything they can to make this happen, to get us through this. I mean, people are worried about money running out. People worry about getting first in line. And then other people are saying, look, there's a fourth and fifth package. I'm hearing the same thing. Congress never lets disaster money run out, even in normal disasters. I've seen years later where people have maybe had some secondary damage that they didn't know about and were able to, get more funds. So I wouldn't worry about the money running out. And they said that the other day in the press conference. Let's just take a breath and let your lender work through this process, which I know has been kind of rushed out, but that's what I see. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Scott, how about you?
This is what I think. You'll see an unprecedented expansion of the Federal Reserve's role in our economy. I think one of my predictions is that the Fed will buy this debt from the lenders, from these small businesses. I think that's sort of been reported a little bit, that I think that they're going to start up their own lending initiative that may be targeted toward the businesses that are 500 to 10,000 in size as far as employers, because I think that there's a big gulf there of obviously we're bailing out the airlines and some of the national security companies that are very large. And then obviously we have the PPP program for the smaller folks, but then there's a big gulf here in the mid-size. I think you'll see the Fed maybe buying company debt out there. I think their balance sheet is just going to expand enormously. And back to sort of what John said, this is an emergency. So a lot of the rules that the Congress has to live by kind of go out the window. Now they are in recess. They're not coming back until April 20th. They have to self-quarantine themselves. There's actually been members that have been getting sick with the virus and they don't want to spread it around. I always have to highlight most members I think are over 60, 68 in the Senate. So I think that the government can respond, and especially when it comes to the focus will continue to be on individuals themselves, and making sure that people get the benefits to wade through this. But I don't think that anyone says up here in DC that this is it, that we've done all that we can. No, they will continue to come back to this well. It's an election year. I hate to say it. People aren't going to just fold up tent and go home.
Right. Thanks, Scott. Chuck?
Well, Mark, these are unprecedented times. We're going to see bumps in the delivery system. There's going to be some abuses of this, but this is the first time that the SBA, the Treasury has worked together, which is unprecedented. This is the first year that the SBA, the FDIC, and the OCC are working together in compliance. So things that are happening this year have never happened before, and I'm really just proud to be a part of it. I think it's exciting.
Great. Thanks very much, Chuck. And last, Alex, the young guy in the group. What's your optimism telling you?
Yeah, I think Scott summed it up pretty well. I think Congress is really has their eye on this. Even saw, based off some of the conversations that, think of people into the infrastructure bill, but have since walked back for that and really having a focus on getting this set up right and making sure that it's done correctly. I think that I did even mention that, the Pelosi wanted to kind of set up an oversight committee to make sure that things are done effectively. So I think that you will see some added kind of watchdogs over there to make sure that the boating industry doesn't go up through the roof right now with misappropriated loans. And then, as I mentioned, I think Congress is going to look for other ideas to look for spending. I know infrastructure is typically one of the places that you'll see next, especially kind of coming into the summer months. And having projects that may be put on hold based on lack of workers, that it could get significant attention, and usually is a bipartisan way to get people back to work and get people moving. And also to kind of you'll start seeing industries that may have been overlooked that are going to get hurt, that you're going to hear from members of Congress, and hopefully, they'll hear from their constituents and want to address, as someone mentioned, kind of the vacation and tourism industry has gotten their attention. Probably would expect to see some more of those come up and get something a little bit more specific from there. But kind of the underlying thought is, Congress isn't done. I think they'll continue to do this, and that their attention is nowhere else right now.
Well, it's great to hear. It's there's a lot of optimism on this panel, and I tend to agree. I think that we've still got some more that we have to get through, but we're going to come out of this the other side, and a lot is going to have changed, and I think there's going to be a lot of things that we didn't really understand that we could do that's going to have been accomplished once we get through. Well, listen, John, Scott, Chuck, Alex, thank you so much for spending your time here today and the work that you did on this panel. I also want to thank Kevin Ryan and Sean Howard for putting these guys together. And Will, of course, has been, there's so many of us that have been working through this. Thank you for that. And thanks so much for Lizzie and Stephen Kane for helping us put this on. I really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you, everyone on this panel and at Citron, and stay safe and healthy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, guys.